Hey y'all, we're going to do something just a little bit different. Let me make sure my microphone is working here. Yeah, I'm in the middle of working on a column for IFR magazine, and let me see if I can bring that up here. Yeah, so kind of in the middle of working on that. So this is going to be kind of a very brief webcast. I don't want to get myself out of the zone there. So let's press on and check out some of what's going on there in Oklahoma right now. Okay, as you can see, we've got south flow across Texas, and it's feeding this area of thunderstorms across Oklahoma on the leading edge of a front hybrid outflow boundary, which is pushing southward. So you can pretty well see the leading edge right there from southern Missouri down through about south of Oklahoma City, Pauls Valley to about La Mesa. Some pretty good storms there, and I tried to bring up GR level 2, and it's not bringing up any data. That's weird. Okay, guess we'll go to TLX and see if that comes up there. Let's check out the Theta E field. We've probably got a bit of a Theta E ridge feeding these storms, and there's 364s right there. So that works out pretty well. And there's another 364 here, kind of feeding up into these storms. So they pretty closely follow that, and you can see kind of a depressed area of 356 right here. So that may be a reason for the gap there in the Oklahoma City area. Let's see here. There we go. There's GR level 2, and these look kind of multicellular right now. Big cluster of storms there, and just a quick look at the data I have. Shows an eastward, northeast movement on the cells, but the overall propagation is to the south. And right there, I think that could be, I don't know, let's see, that's up at about 2,000 feet. That could be the boundary moving south. Let's see, we've got inbound velocities there. I'm not too sure. That may just be some rain coming down there. I think the actual boundary could be like a little further south towards Sulphur. But a pretty good cell there on the tail end, and I guess if you were chasing, those are the ones you would be after. So we got severe thunderstorm warnings on those. Okay, let me bring up some of the other data here real quick. Again, for those of you just joining this, it's just going to be kind of a quick one. Let's see, slight risk across the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma as that front works southward. Everything driven there by the 200 millibar flow. Well, at least up at the anvil it is. So you can see a very strong northeast flow right there. And then where storms are, they're getting into the weaker air down around Oklahoma. So about 30 knots down there out of the west. So they're becoming a little bit decoupled there from the stronger winds. But however, this is moving in, and this is at 12Z, so it's possible this is overspread part of Oklahoma, but still, I don't think that's quite enough to help those storms down in the Red River. Okay, 700 millibar heights, showing that, yeah, the cap is definitely a factor today. It looks like some convection contaminating Norman, or maybe just close to there. Then we can see the 15 line right there. I think that may just be an artifact there from the rapid refresh, but definitely a cap anywhere south of Kansas. Then we see not really a low-level jet feeding northward into Oklahoma, kind of just a broad 20 to 25 knot flow coming up through Texas. We did have some stratus out there. We get a little bit lower, and this is almost a low-level jet right there. maybe a very weak one, about 30 to 35 knots there. So yeah, that's probably showing up there. Can definitely see the storms there. I'll see if I can bring that up real quick. And what we see here is mostly just anvils. It's hard to find any boundaries at all. I think we do see one little boundary around the Memphis, Texas area, probably just outflow spreading to the northeast there. You can see that pretty well there. There's a little bit of low cloud, and it looks like that comes as a circle all the way around, and then that would be underneath the anvil canopy right there. Can see a little bit of the moisture feeding the storms. See that cumulus field right there? That could represent deeper moisture working its way northward. So that may correspond to the Theta E ridge that's out to the east in that area. Okay, let's check out the soundings real quick since we do have a storm day. Let's see, July 1st. Yep, it's already July 1st on UTC time. Well, we've got the Fort Worth 0Z sounding, and we can definitely see that that's capped. And using the afternoon temperatures, yeah, we just can't break that. That's a lot of convective inhibition in that area. Don't have the Oklahoma City sounding, but we do have Amarillo. And that shows that they're capped as well. Surprising to see that far west, especially this kind of moisture. I figured the dry line would have come through Amarillo, but apparently not. So that's kind of significant right there. So unusually, we see them capped right there and a little bit of cape above that. Okay, let's see. I guess the Norman sounding is not in yet, but yeah, that's going to be contaminated, and that's probably a big reason we don't have that. Can we go back earlier? Let's see, 3012. I don't understand how you're supposed to roll the date back and pick the station when it doesn't show up on the map. Well, that's kind of dumb. Okay. Let me see if I can just edit the URL. Okay. So I guess one way to get that sounding right there is to directly enter the WMO identifier, and the one for Oklahoma City, I think that's 72. It's been a while. I guess 357. Yeah. Okay. So lucky guess there. Okay. So now we have the sounding for Norman this morning, and we see plenty of moisture, all the way up to about 10,000 feet, almost tropical, and a bit of I guess that's cool air or something. That's kind of an unusual profile in the lower levels, but we do see northeast winds. So apparently this is close to an MCS, or they just had one pass through or something. Definitely some unusual weather there. So we have to take this kind of with a grain of salt, but the upper levels, this looks consistent with a lot of the other profiles around there, like Fort Worth and Amarillo. Okay, let's see. Let's just move on to the forecast, since I have to get back to that article. Let's take a look at the high-resolution rapid refresh forecast. Waiting for that to come up real quick. Let me just switch this to the south central U.S. Okay, let's see. Saying hello to everybody in chat. Ron Chalfont and Ryan, Kevin, Eddie, Thomas, Brian, Sue M, Thomas Copeland, Brian Harp, Greenville Weather. That's a new one. Welcome to the webcast. Lloyd McCarter got caught out in a 10 a.m. 30-knot gust and really dark. Burl H. Mike Estwick asks, what site is that chart off of? I'm trying to remember what I had earlier. Oh, yeah, I think that first chart you were looking at this morning, or I'm sorry, the first chart you were looking at when we started was probably SPC. I think you may have been asking about that right there. Yeah, so for that you would go to SPC's mesoscale analysis and select surface and then theta E advection. And I don't pay attention to the advection too much because that's combining one variable with another, and you can get a lot of errors if the field is kind of noisy like it is right now. So I don't pay attention to that. But the green values, those we can pick out a little bit of data, and that's where I was showing the theta E ridge. Lloyd McCarter, data study and research, develop questions, data rest. Sounds good. Fun with Tech is here. And any way to contact me to send pictures, yeah, go to weathergraphics.com, and there's a contact form that'll take you to my email address, and if you want to go directly, that's going to be tim.vasquez@weathergraphics.com. That would be the best way to send media. GFS keeps showing something in the Atlantic and the long range. That's from Shred Days, another new viewer. And Cosmo Gaming, another new viewer. Ryan says tropics only showing a few powerful waves moving west off the intertropical convergence zone. Let me see if I can find that. Might as well check out the tropics. Check out the 5-day NHC forecast. No new tropical cyclones expected. But this time of year, the intertropical convergence zone is going to be moving north. And let me see if I can bring that up. We have to kind of really zoom out to see that. And let me set the satellite so it's correct. June 29th, June 30th, there we go. Zoom that out even further. This is the best way to really find the intertropical convergence zone. You zoom way out on these photos. This is worldview.earthdata.nasa.gov. And there it is, intertropical convergence zone. You can see it there. It's a linear area of clouds extending roughly parallel to the equator. So we see it go in through here. And this time of year we find it through Venezuela, maybe just off the coast, and then into Costa Rica, Panama. And this reaches its northernmost extent probably in August. And at that point we'll find it maybe up to Honduras, through the Caribbean, and through this area here. So this could be a potent area of genesis for tropical storms. And there you can see more of the intertropical convergence zone to the south. Pretty easy to spot. On either side of those, you're going to have the trade winds. Those are going to be feeding into the intertropical convergence zone. And I guess when we're talking about those waves, this appears to be one that looks like a little mesoscale convective vortex over Africa. So as you zoom down, you can see more and more detail of stuff that's going on. So this could certainly intensify as it moves eastward or westward and off into the Atlantic here. It looks like a couple more good waves. on the way, and here's kind of a quiet area, and then another quiet area right there, and then we pick up the next wave. So this is what forecasters are looking at in the long term for what's going to appear in the Atlantic later. And then up where we are, we can see the sea breeze pretty far north for this time of the day, and I think we may be back behind it. Not much going on outside. But up to the north, you can definitely see some boundaries, and let me put up the state lines. There it is, right there through the El Dorado area, Texarkana, up to the Red River, and up to southern Oklahoma, and that's where we had the thunderstorms develop today. So this is what you would be looking at earlier in the day to find where storms are going to form. You can see the moisture streaming northward. And then north of that boundary, you can see the transverse banding in this area here. Looks slightly different from the cloud streets. It's got more of a suppressed flat look, and it's more oriented towards the northwest. Okay, let's head into that forecast real quick, and I'll be able to get back to that column. So it looks like the high-resolution rapid refresh has that MCS pretty well in place, and they're bringing that into the northern counties of North Texas. And then we get one big MCS moving through the Dallas and Fort Worth area just before dawn. So a little bit of thunder and lightning waking those people up, and looks like some of that will reach this area in the morning. We're just southeast of Dallas there. Okay, let's see what's going to happen over the next few days. You may remember that the models, the GFS, was not very aggressive on moving a boundary southward. I think when we went back about like 5 or 6 days, we really didn't see that. So that shows you how the mesoscale details completely dominate the weather. So what we want to look at is more of the large scale picture. And what I'm showing you here as far as where the boundaries are, this is just kind of hypothetical. You know, what if, and the actual forecast may be a little bit close to that, but ultimately it's going to come down to the mesoscale details as we get 3 to 4 days out and further. So there's the boundary in North Texas right there, and then by the time we do the webcast tomorrow night, this is Saturday evening, definitely looks like a boundary in the Red River, so probably more thunderstorms, especially where we have the intersection of this deeper moisture. So a pretty good pattern for rain in the Red River, Wichita Falls, Ardmore, and maybe Altus. And you can see high pressure just to the northeast right there. Go a little bit further to Sunday. For Sunday's webcast, we get back into a deep southerly flow. The boundary lifts northward into Kansas and Nebraska. So everything is kind of driven by this very large-scale southerly flow here. So we will find the boundary up north as long as there is not strong outflow to keep it quasi-stationary in Oklahoma. So in a way, you have to kind of forecast how much precip there's going to be, how extensive the storms are, and how the models are verifying, because that can definitely affect the short-range forecast there. Then by Monday, looks like we have another push of cool air coming in, kind of a backdoor front into Arkansas right there. For Tuesday, more easterly flow in that area, that with the southerly flow in Texas. That means convergence. and a good chance for rain in the central U.S. So again, looks like rainy pattern for the central part of the country. For Wednesday, we break off a low pressure area right there. So kind of a front moving through Missouri into Illinois. And this time of year, if these systems, if they can pick up strong upper level flow, we could be looking at derechos, strong windstorms and that kind of thing, especially in the Midwest. So we have to kind of carefully watch these storms and the upper level flow. And especially if you have dry air aloft, that can really generate a lot of cold air pools, and that can set up the environment for a derecho. Okay, for Friday, that little system, I don't know, where did that go? I think it's, yeah, it looks like it's kind of drifting around St. Louis. So some sort of boundary still in the Oklahoma area. For next weekend, looks like a little weak boundary through Missouri and Kansas. Moisture is still working its way north. I do find this a little suspect in Texas. You can see that we have southeasterly flow here, but we're not seeing the deeper moisture in central Texas, so maybe there's some thunderstorm activity here using up some of the fuel. Let's see, is that what's happening? Yeah, could be. And you can see that the field has this noisy look here, so that could be convection. Okay, then for Sunday next week, Sunday the 9th, looks like a new fresh system coming out of Nebraska. So there it is. There's our low pressure area right there in Kansas. So more rain. I think somebody's going to have flooding problems in that area. There's Monday and there's Tuesday, just some sort of boundary stationary in that area, Kansas. Then we get up to Thursday and Friday, and yeah, look at that. There's some sort of hurricane or tropical cyclone or something coming into Florida. Let's see where that came from. Looks like it came from the Bahamas and just north of Puerto Rico. So yeah, we'll have to watch what's happening there in the tropics, and let me see if I can find where that came from. Wait a second for this to load up. Ryan says tropics only showing a few powerful waves moving west off the intertropical convergence zone. Greenville Weather says, this is my second stream and just found out about your streams. Enjoying it. Appreciate that. Ryan says, looking busy east to west. TD says, yin and yang boundaries. Yeah, sure seems that way. Greg Kerner joining, and Ryan says, dew points looking very high next week, pushing all the way north. And Brett Dean, high, all hot today, temperatures 70, dew points in the 90s, or that would be bad. Dew points in the 70s, temperatures in the 90s, thunderstorms in the vicinity, 81 degrees. And let's see what's happening there in the Atlantic. Okay, I think these charts are loaded up. Okay, so there's the system there coming into Florida. Let's back that up. Yep, so that's coming from Africa. Let me scroll that down so you can see that a little bit better. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, there it is right there. So just moving just north of Puerto Rico there next week, or next weekend, around the 9th. Then we back that up. There's the 7th and the 6th. So we will have to watch what's coming off the coast of Africa. Okay, well, like I said, this is going to be a short one. I'm working on my article and I have to get back to that. So I appreciate you watching, and hopefully we will see you on tomorrow. Thanks.